So first of all, thank you, Varas, for taking out time today. Before we proceed, could you please introduce yourself about your roles and the company?
Certainly. So my name is Ivar Bergmans. I have over 30 years of international financial markets experience in various countries around the world, both Australia and Europe predominantly. So I'm one of four partners in a boutique called Via Claros, where we have very deep and wide experience in M&A, strategic sale, capital markets, private equity raisings, debt financing, and our focus during the past near recent years has been the across the Baltic countries, so Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania.
Understood. Thank you for sharing that. It has been a pleasure working with you for so many years. But let's talk about how it originated. So maybe you can share, how did you first come across Valorega and what made you decide to work with us?
Well, certainly for me it was a random find, but a random lucky find. So my understanding was that Krishna, yourself, in the process of setting up pretty much a shop. And for me, it always comes down to people. And so when it came to the let's say that the can-do attitude, and also both of us mutually understanding the sort of roles which would be required, not only from yourself, but also the sort of expected inputs to be coming through to have a fruitful cooperation. For me, it was a pretty basic choice. So if it indicates that both parties understanding and willing what has to be done, that makes the whole process far more smoother and productive. And as with everyone, time is a very valuable resource, and it was just really a case of getting moving.
Okay, thank you for kind words for us. What business challenges or goals were you trying to address when you began working with Valorega?
Yes. At the end of the day, whenever one is doing advisory work, doesn't matter whether it's M&A, capital markets, and so forth, there is always a front-end component and also a back-end component. Now, the back-end is very much where someone might not be fully, let's say, involved by any means in terms of the relationships, really being at the so-called coalface of a transaction, which is a lot of interaction with people, personalities, counterparties, whether it's investors, corporates, and so forth. However, in order to come up with ideas or theses which are well documented and argued, there is this back end required. So that includes very important factors such as financial modeling, some basics in terms of helping provide some support when it comes to, let's say, putting together pitches or anything like that. And that was very much this back end that I was looking to address. Because at the end of the day, unless someone has done it before, they understand the expectations in their particular case, what is required from the counterparties involved, it's then, how should we say, far smoother, far easier than trying to go and recruit someone. Because at the end of the day, projects also tend to be somewhat more random in nature. They're not necessarily always running all the time. And so it's good that you have the flexibility to actually switch in when required, and you know that there's going to be good support there.
Understood. Thanks for sharing that. My next question is, I think we have been working for about 8 years together, probably 7-8 years. So how would you describe your experience working with Valorega for so many years?
Well, a simple word, actually 2 words, very positive, because it has met my expectations through time very much in terms of what has been expected, what has been delivered. And as I mentioned earlier during this conversation here, it's very much a case of each of the parties understanding that, what are the roles or what has to be required to be fulfilled by each party to deliver actually what's expected and what's realistic. So from that perspective, I would say, look, super good, super happy. And for me, then it's been a case of, let's say, time resource very much being saved, which is extremely valuable and important. And secondly, then let's say a good value perspective received from Valorega in terms of actually then having these basics delivered that we actually required throughout time in various projects.
Understood. So I think the next question would be, what concrete outcomes or benefits have you seen from Velorega's support?
Well, it really comes down to having at least then a reliable party. So rather than sort of reaching out, maybe, let's say, maybe to other, say, parties who might not be, reliably there, they might say, hey, sorry, busy for the next 3 months, knowing that there's mutual common expectations without having to actually go through. So it's the overall efficiency and mutually understood expectations, which would be very much the outcome of each situation where there's been work being undertaken.
Okay, understood. So how would you what do you think that sets Velorega apart from other service providers in the same industry?
Yep. So I would say that in terms of understanding the various levels of intricacy and or engagement which is necessary depending on the tasks which have to be done. Because I think in most other cases, there is also extremely perhaps narrow experience in one particular field. In Valorega's, let's say, perspective, my view, my experience, so from that aspect, tried and tested, it's very much a case of understanding, okay, well, what's more required maybe in an M&A situation, or what might be more required in a capital market situation. And obviously then having the efficient communication between each other to actually then lay out the details where this is required when, and actually then delivering on time and knowing that certainly, should anything need a quick, nip and tuck somewhere or something like that, which always happens, no one has perfect information always, that's also appropriately done. So I would say a transparent, very well balanced, let's say, set of services, which are the services which are required for a particular task, rather than someone saying we need an analyst, and we'll provide an analyst, understanding the actual finer nature of the financial advisory business. So that would be a very quick, let's say, overview of that.
Understood. And how do you perceive the quality of work done by Velorega?
I've been working with you for a long time. I think duration and let's say very good satisfaction with the outcomes is proof of the pudding.
Okay, thank you for kind words for us. Would you recommend Velorega to other firms or professionals, and why?
Well, the answer is absolutely. I think the most important thing here is the understanding the intricacies. As I mentioned earlier, understanding the intricacies what are required for various projects, and it's not very much a copy paste where there is a certain thing to be done each time. Another thing, as I mentioned as well today, timeliness, reliability. And that for me is putting it all together. Very good value for the resource that we have invested into Velorega for our services.
Okay, one last question. Is there anything else you would like maybe other folks to know about working with Velorega?
Absolutely. And I think one thing which is always important to know is this aspect of flexibility. So it's very much a case where it might be relating to deadlines, or it might be relating to another finer factor of a particular project. This particular, let's say, component of the flexibility, together with the quality of the work which is actually delivered, it is extremely important always at the outset to communicate and explain, okay, what are the key things or key factors that we need to keep in mind on this particular project at the outset. And providing that is done, a very good outcome through time, and at the same time it means also then this consistency. So it's effectively having someone working within your team, and at the same time being possibly somewhat of a distance away, but irrespective of time zone differences, irrespective of anything else, you do feel like someone's got your back when it's required in terms of delivering certain components of your overall services. So from that perspective, it's great teamwork.
Understood. Thanks a lot, Ivaras, for your kind words. And I really appreciate again the time you have taken for this call. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for this call.
Well, Krishna, pleasure to help. And I really want to see Balarega be, how shall we say, another big name out there. And certainly just reach out to me if there's anything additional you want me to do. Okay?
For sure. Appreciate your help, Ivaras. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Cheers. Okay. Right.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.